For a while, I felt stuck in a never-ending financial loop. Every month, I'd try to budget carefully, but by the end, I still didn't have enough for the basics. It wasn't because I was overspending, but because I didn't understand how my money was flowing. What drained me the most wasn't just the lack of money, but the constant anxiety. Each month, I'd wonder what I had missed, why my plans always fell apart. I began to think that this was just how my finances would always be. Then I realized the problem wasn't that I was bad with money, but that I lacked the right approach. I didn't need to change everything at once, just make small, sustainable adjustments. While things didn't improve overnight, I gradually felt the weight lift. Today, I want to share 10 practical tips I've applied to help you take control of your finances and make spending clearer. Let's start with this tip. Many people struggle with saving money, not because they don't earn enough, but because saving is constantly pushed to the end. Bills, daily expenses, and unexpected costs always come first. By the time the month ends, there's little left, and the cycle repeats. Over time, this creates a quiet sense of helplessness, where budgeting feels exhausting rather than empowering. There was a time when I experienced this firsthand. Even with careful planning, the numbers never seemed to work out. Looking at the budget at the end of the month often came with frustration and fatigue, especially knowing that effort alone wasn't solving the problem. The issue wasn't discipline. It was leaving too many financial decisions to emotions and timing. The shift happens when saving is no longer treated as an optional choice, but as a system. Automating savings means moving money aside the moment income arrives, before it has a chance to be spent. This can be as small as 5% or 10% of monthly income. What matters is not the amount, but the timing. Like a fixed bill. The money is transferred automatically, removing hesitation, second-guessing, and end-of-month pressure. At first, the numbers may seem insignificant, but consistency changes everything. Over time, savings begin to grow quietly in the background without constant effort or emotional negotiation. More importantly, the stress around money starts to ease. Decisions become simpler because part of the financial responsibility has already been handled. This approach can be applied easily using banking features or budgeting apps that allow automatic transfers to savings emergency funds or long-term goals. Starting small is not a weakness, it's what makes the habit sustainable. Once automation is in place, saving stops feeling like self-control and starts feeling like support. Small systems create lasting stability. And when saving no longer depends on willpower, financial pressure becomes lighter, more manageable, and far less overwhelming. By the way, if you're looking for more tips to simplify your life, don't miss the next video where we talk about cleaning hacks that seem like a good idea, but could actually ruin your life. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Next, let's take a closer look at your fixed monthly expenses, the bills and subscriptions that feel unavoidable, rent, insurance, internet, phone plans, utilities, and other recurring costs. These expenses often take up a large portion of the budget, making me feel trapped. And despite my efforts to cut down on flexible spending, I still found myself worrying about whether I would have enough money at the end of the month. However, fixed expenses are not set in stone. I reviewed every service I was using and asked whether it was possible to cancel or negotiate for a reduction in costs. For example, I canceled my cable TV package and streaming subscriptions that I rarely used. Then I called my insurance company and internet provider to check for any available discounts or promotions. The results were surprising. With just a few calls and some determination, I was able to save a significant amount each month without changing my daily lifestyle. Try applying this approach to other fixed expenses, phone bills, delivery services, gym memberships, or unnecessary apps. Even if you reduce 5 to 10% of your total fixed costs, the cumulative result over the year can be substantial. The key is to take control rather than just accepting everything as it is. When you eliminate services that don't bring real value, your budget will feel lighter and the feeling of being trapped will lessen significantly. Remember, negotiating or canceling services doesn't mean lowering your quality of life. On the contrary, it brings financial freedom and reduces monthly anxiety. A little initiative today can make a big difference in the long run. Let's think about the place you call home. A large living space doesn't always guarantee comfort. I used to live in a relatively large apartment with many empty rooms and excess space. While it sounded great in theory, the reality was different. I felt exhausted from cleaning with items scattered around, and the empty corners made the place still feel messy despite the large space. Once I realized this, I decided to make a change. I reconsidered my living space to fit my actual needs. I moved to a smaller, simpler apartment, but one with all the basic amenities I truly used every day. Immediately, I felt the space became much tidier, fewer items, easier to clean, and I no longer had to deal with the overwhelming feeling of excess space. Living in a smaller space with just enough amenities also helped me save on monthly costs, rent, utilities, and cleaning time. More importantly, when the living space is limited, I'm forced to keep only the essentials. Avoid hoarding, and this has helped me develop a habit of living more simply and saving more. For example, I used to have a spare room that was just for storing unused items. After moving to my new place, I cleared that room and turned it into a space for relaxation, reading, or working. A small, well-equipped space has really changed how I experience my home and made me feel much more comfortable and at ease. Instead of cramming too many things into a large space, choosing a living space that fits your needs helps you control costs, time, and your overall feeling of home, turning big homes into easy-to-live homes. Next, let's rethink the way you shop. Every time I went shopping, I used to think of high-end, well-known brands and automatically associated them with quality. I rarely considered alternatives. However, after several rounds of thorough checking, I realized that many cheaper products could meet my needs just as well with quality comparable and at a much lower price. For instance, instead of buying a high-end blender, I found a more affordable model that still provided the necessary power. For everyday consumables like detergent, toilet paper, and office supplies, opting for generic brands saved me hundreds of dollars a year without affecting my quality of life. I even started using second-hand items or repairing things instead of throwing them away and buying new. This smarter shopping approach not only helps you reduce costs, but also teaches you to compare prices and assess actual value. I also noticed that by examining my options more carefully, I became less impulsive in my purchases, and shopping became a more intentional decision. The difference with this tip is instead of drastically cutting consumption, you can still enjoy good products while saving intelligently. This is about optimizing resources, reducing costs, while maintaining the quality of life. Now let's look at your daily eating habits, a small but often unnoticed drain on your budget. I used to spend a lot of money on eating out. Every meal became a quick decision, stopping by a restaurant, ordering delivery because I was tired eating just to fill my stomach. Each small expense didn't seem significant, but when added up, it became one of the largest monthly expenses. Not only did this cost me money, but it also threw my diet out of control, some days too salty, some days too oily. And sometimes I ate just to feel full, not because it was satisfying. The solution I found was meal prep, preparing meals ahead of time, but in a simple and flexible way. I didn't start by cooking a ton of dishes, but rather created a basic framework so I wouldn't have to think about it every day. Instead of trying to make everything perfect, the focus was on having enough food, being easy to repeat, and not exhausting. The method is quite simple. Choose 2 types of protein that are easy to cook and store, such as roasted chicken and ground meat, and pair them with a few familiar side dishes like steamed vegetables, simple salads, and 1 type of starch. From the same set of ingredients, I could mix and match throughout the week, one day chicken plus salad, the next day ground meat plus steamed vegetables. This way meals still feel varied without needing to cook every day. The important thing is that you don't need a large kitchen, expensive ingredients, or high cooking skills. Just prepare once, divide into containers, and use throughout the week. I realized that by removing the question, "What should I eat today?" I saved a lot of mental energy. With the meals already prepared and in the fridge, the temptation to order takeout naturally decreases. It's not about forcing yourself to save, but the easiest option is right there. As a result, my food expenses decreased significantly, and meals became more consistent and healthier, with less dependence on fast food or prepackaged items. Meal prep isn't just a money-saving tip. It creates a more stable routine, helps control spending, and reduces daily stress. When meals are no longer a source of worry, I feel lighter in every other decision throughout the day, both financially and mentally. This was the rule that finally quieted that constant, "What if I need this later?" voice in my head. A lot of expenses don't come from real needs, but from temporary emotions. A product appears at the right time when you're tired, bored, or feel like you deserve a treat. And just like that, it ends up in your cart before you have time to think. The issue isn't whether the item is expensive or cheap, but that the decision to buy happens too quickly. The 48-hour rule doesn't force you to save in an extreme way. It just creates a small pause between your emotions and your actions. When you place an item in your cart and leave it for 2 days, you give yourself time to return to a more rational state. Often after 48 hours, the urgency to really need it fades away, or at least doesn't feel as pressing. What's interesting is that you don't need to convince yourself don't buy. You just need to wait. If after 2 days you still feel like you really need the item, you can purchase it calmly and without regret. If you forget it was even in your cart, that's the clearest answer. This rule significantly reduces impulse buying, especially online where everything is designed to trigger quick decisions. Over time, you'll realize that many of the things you once wanted aren't actually that important. It doesn't require high discipline or drastic cuts. It simply helps you separate your emotions from your wallet. And when your buying decisions slow down, you begin to feel like you're in control of your money, not the other way around. At some point, I realized the problem wasn't how much I owned it, was what I was trading my time and energy for. It wasn't that I had too much stuff, but rather that I was spending too much time and energy just keeping everything running. When it comes to saving, most people immediately think about cutting back, buying less, spending less, enjoying less. But there's another approach that's much less stressful. Look at what you already have and see if it's being underutilized. Your home is not just a place you live in, it's a resource. And for many, that resource is sitting idle, not providing any value other than costing money to maintain. This could be a spare room you rarely use, a quiet corner where you could work, or items you no longer use but still have value. Selling unused items. Renting out a room, short-term rentals, or using the space to work from home, freelancing, teaching online. These are not far-fetched ideas. They're very practical ways to turn your living space into a small but steady income stream, and most importantly, they don't require extra energy. The key to this tip is not about making a lot of money. It's about reducing monthly financial pressure. When you have an additional income stream, even if it's small, the stress diminishes significantly. You no longer rely solely on one income source, and less dependency is what creates a sense of security. Working from home or creating income on-site also helps you save on seemingly small expenses, commuting costs, eating out, time spent, stuck in traffic, and the exhaustion after a full day of travel. These invisible savings, when accumulated, have a bigger impact than you think, not just on your budget, but also on your mental resilience. Instead of continuing to tighten your life, you expand the potential of your living space. Your home is no longer something that drains money every month. It can support you and ease your burdens. And when money is no longer a constant pressure, you'll find that you're no longer exhausted from calculating every little detail in your daily life. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much, but from paying too much. It's a kind of tiredness that doesn't show up immediately but builds up over time after each swipe of the wallet for seemingly innocent fun. Many people spend money on entertainment not necessarily because they truly want to, but because they believe it's the only way to relax. Weekends must be spent going out. To have fun, you need to buy tickets. Meeting friends means going to a cafe. Over time, joy becomes tied to spending to the point where if we don't spend money, we feel like we're missing out on something. But the truth is, a lot of financial stress comes from these seemingly harmless entertainment expenses. Here's a little-known truth. A lot of fun doesn't have to cost a lot. Walking outside, sitting in the park attending free community events, reading books at the library, visiting free exhibitions, or simply meeting someone for a chat without revolving around expensive food. These activities bring a sense of ease, clarity, and importantly, they come without the pressure of justifying the money spent. When entertainment is no longer tied to spending money, you'll feel much lighter. Weekends no longer become the question of, can I afford to have fun, but rather, what can I do to really rest? You'll also find yourself less likely to feel empty after quick, expensive outings because the bill stays behind while the fun ends. Joy is no longer mixed with anxiety and regret. This gradually changes the definition of fun. Fun doesn't need to be extravagant. It doesn't require constant crowds, elaborate plans, or high costs. Sometimes just stepping outside, moving gently and connecting just enough with the world around you without reaching for your wallet constantly is a real form of rest. When you separate joy from spending money, you don't just save on your budget. You also regain the right to enjoy life on your terms without being controlled by consumer habits or societal pressure. And that's the kind of relief that will last long term. I didn't question how much I spent. I questioned where my life was heading. Daily spending is so easy to get caught up in. Money goes out regularly for food, living expenses, entertainment, and everything seems fine. But when there's no clear long-term goal, money just flows out without providing any peace of mind or progress. When you begin setting specific goals such as buying a house, retiring early, or going on a big trip in a few years, money suddenly plays a different role. It's no longer just for spending today. It becomes a tool to build a clearer future version of yourself. These goals act as an anchor. Every spending decision can be compared against them. When you know why you're saving, rejecting unnecessary purchases becomes much easier. You no longer feel deprived or like you're forcing yourself. It's simply about choosing other priorities. This choice feels proactive, not like sacrifice. A spending plan based on long-term goals gives your money a clear structure: part for living, part for saving, part for investing. Each allocation has a specific address. When money is no longer vague, anxiety decreases because you know where you're heading and how you're progressing. The biggest difference with this tip isn't in the numbers, but in the feeling. It doesn't just help you control your money better, it gives you something more important: the feeling that your life is moving forward, not just circling month after month. This isn't about becoming a finance expert. The goal is much simpler: reduce the feeling of being lost when thinking about money. A lot of financial stress doesn't come from lacking money, but from not understanding what you're doing with it. You're earning money, spending money, trying to save, but everything feels vague. You don't know if you're doing the right thing, and therefore every decision comes with worry. When you start learning the basics of personal finance, like how money flows, the difference between saving and investing, or how to set up a realistic budget, something important happens. The uncertainty begins to fade. You no longer feel like you're guessing every time you spend money or leave money sitting in your account. You don't need to learn it all at once. In fact, trying to learn too much too quickly can cause you to give up. Just start with small steps: an easy-to-read book, a podcast that explains things slowly, or a short course focusing on the issue you're facing. Each piece of knowledge is like turning on a light in a dark room. You start to see things more clearly, even if it's not completely bright yet. The most important part is that when you have a solid foundation, you make informed decisions. You know why you're saving this way. You understand the risks when investing. You can recognize when financial advice doesn't apply to your situation. At that point, money is no longer something to panic about. It's a tool you're learning to use. Financial knowledge won't make you rich immediately, but it helps you make fewer mistakes. And fewer mistakes mean less stress, less self-blame, and more control in your life. This is the most sustainable foundation. When you understand money, you no longer fear it, and when fear fades, you truly begin to control it. I no longer use money the way I used to. In the past, spending was a rushed decision with little control. Now, I automate my savings and manage fixed expenses, which helps reduce financial pressure and gives me a sense of control and peace of mind in my daily life. Start today with a small change, automate your savings, or review the services you're using. These small steps can make a big difference. And don't miss the next video about cleaning hacks that sound good at first, but actually end up ruining your life. That's definitely something you don't want to miss. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great tips. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.